Live on your side at 5. Focused on you.
We've learned new details tonight about a deadly shooting on New Year's Eve in Lincoln County. For the first time, we're hearing from family members of the teenage victim. Thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Bush.
I'm Kelly Jackson. An older sister tells us 16-year-old Matthew Robinson was shot and killed Sunday morning. It happened on Dotson Road near Troy on the east side of Quiver River State Park. 5 News' Andy Krall has been covering this story since Sunday, and she joins us in studio.
Well, Kelly, on Sunday morning at about 10:30, the Lincoln County Sheriff's Office got a 911 call about a domestic disturbance, announcing shortly after that a 16-year-old boy had been shot and killed as a result. They said that 5 people were inside the residence at the time and were taken in for questioning. Today, there was a small memorial on a signpost in Troy in Matthew Robinson's memory. Flowers, stuffed animals, and a cross with the name Matthew on it. He's the little brother of Jillian Stevens, who told us that she thinks her brother's story needs to be heard. After our continued outreach, police have not confirmed the relationship of Matthew to the other people in the home or whether or not he even lived on the street where it happened. The Lincoln County School District announced today that he was a student at the New Horizons High School in Troy, saying they are, quote, heartbroken. In terms of counseling in the aftermath of the incident, Turning Point Advocacy Services offers support and shelters across 7 counties, including Lincoln County, for victims of physical, sexual, mental, and emotional abuse.
If you look at the domino effect, how can you possibly live, learn, work, and play in your community if your basic needs, feeling that you have physical safety, if all of those things aren't met? It impacts everything in your life. And I will say it impacts the trajectory. So whether it's a child or it's a woman in her 30s, it impacts their lives for years.
Tomorrow and throughout this week, Lincoln County School District crisis counselors will be on site at New Horizons High School to work with some of those students and staff. Additionally, school counselors are on site at all of their school locations for any individual who would like to reach out. Kelly.
All right, Annie. And police in Alton are investigating another shooting that left a teenage boy dead. Happened in an apartment on Woodview Court yesterday. 17-year-old Jaden Dahl was found shot inside. He died at a hospital. Police say this was not a random shooting. So far, no word of any arrests. Police are asking anyone with information to give them a call.
Tonight, the Major Case Squad is asking for information on a homicide in Delwood. Keith Usery was found shot to death inside his home on South Schluter Avenue yesterday. Police have not released any other details. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers, and callers will remain anonymous. That number, 866-371-TIPS.
Tonight, a family is demanding justice for their mother who was killed in her home in St. Louis. Newly obtained video shows the suspect wheeling the woman's body out of her apartment. And a recent lawsuit blames multiple parties for her death.
Our Justina Cornell joins us now in studio after speaking with family today. Justina?
Yeah, 63-year-old Caroline Jenkins lived at Metropolitan Village Apartments in Midtown St. Louis. In August of 2022, her body was found a few yards away from the building in a wooded area. Her neighbor and ex-boyfriend, David Leonard Harvey, is now charged with her murder. And Jenkins' family said they want more to be done. That's why her children filed a civil lawsuit against the apartment complex, the managing company, Sunstone Group, and the security team called Anthony's Empire Security. The lawsuit states there was negligence involved and each party had a responsibility to protect their mother. Her daughter Carla Smith tells me video shows the suspect following the victim to her apartment door and rushing inside behind her before closing that door. Police say later on, the suspect, along with an associate, re-entered the apartment with the body loaded onto a dolly and wheeled it outside. Now, the surveillance footage shows her also wheeling past security. Smith said it's critical they get justice for their mom.
She was a beautiful spirit. My mother was the life of the party, always laughing, always dancing, always having a good time. She was just the life of the party, just so much wisdom, so much knowledge that she always shared. And just, we're just so broken without her.
Now, I did reach out to all the parties involved in this lawsuit, and I have not heard back from them just yet. As far as this criminal case, Harvey goes to trial in March.
One person is dead after a crash involving a car and a garbage truck in Baldwin. It happened early this morning near Clayton Road and Platerry Drive. Police tell us a person in the car died. Their name's not been released. Missouri State Highway Patrol tells us that the crash is being investigated. Well, our new year is off to a dry start.
And Weather First Chief Meteorologist Scott Connell joins us now with a look at these temperatures a little warmer today, Scott.
Yeah, yesterday the clouds really held us back. Today we at least had some sunshine. In fact, a pretty sunset for some of us. A little color looking over in Belleville right now as these high clouds continue to streak overhead. There's the view out in St. Charles. And again, at least we have some sunshine poking through those clouds as the sun is setting. Is a little bit brighter today, a little bit warmer, back into the mid 40s. These are just high clouds that are streaking over us, not going to produce any rain or snow, so we are quiet through the evening hours. We'll drop out of the 40s quickly into the 30s, and most of us tomorrow morning will start out in the 20s. Coming up in about 10 minutes, we're going to talk about the weekend, our chances for a little rain and snow, and also look ahead to next week when we have a larger, more intense storm system expected to impact us. We'll talk about that in just a few, Mike.
All right, Scott. Foreign companies and investors will soon need extra approval from the state of Missouri before buying farmland in the state.
The new executive order also bans any companies with ties to China or other foreign adversaries from buying farmland within a 10-mile radius of critical military sites. Our political editor, Mark Maxwell, has more on the new developments.
Kelly and Mike, critics might call it the new Red Scare sweeping red states. Governor Mike Parson has joined other states to prevent Chinese-backed firms from buying up sensitive properties near military locations. A recent farmland sale out in North Dakota raised some concerns for its proximity to a U.S. Air Force base, but that doesn't appear to be happening in Missouri, not yet. State and federal records show American farmers or companies own more than 99.5% of all the farmland in the state. And when you take a closer look at that fraction of a farmland owned by other countries, less than 1/5 of 1% of Missouri farmland owned by Chinese companies. Parsons signaled to state lawmakers today he would consider passing a ban far more wide-sweeping if the law would allow him.
Believe me, if I had the authority, we wouldn't just be talking about banning farmland, but all commercial properties by foreign adversaries, regardless of rural or urban. Because a commercial building in our urban area in the hands of adversaries poses just as much, if not more, of a threat to our security interests than a rural farm.
Secretary of State Jay Ashcroft, who's running for governor, called today's press conference, quote, too little too late, and called to stop the China land grab. The most recent records, though, show the last time a Chinese-linked firm acquired a Missouri piece of farmland was back in 2017 and 18, when the massive pork producer Smithfield Foods sold to a Chinese firm. The state is not aware of any current Chinese-owned land near any of those military sites listed across Missouri.
Today, the city of Maryland Heights started a 4-day work week for civilian workers. It's also extending its work hours. City leaders say this will create a more balanced work-life schedule for employees and also gives residents and businesses more access to government services.
Two planes collide on a runway in Japan. What an early investigation reveals about the cause.
Terrorism is ruled out following a crash after a concert in New York. But we're learning about the suspect tonight.
Changes to federal student aid, how the process to apply is now easier for students.